All right, I'll go ahead and call this committee meeting to order for environmental quality or environmental protection, conservation of water resources. This is a nomination hearing for Mr. Jack Winstead. This is for the Commission of Environmental Quality. He represents the 3rd Congressional District, which is part of the old 5 Congressional District. This is for a 7-year term that begins on July 1st and ends in June 30 of 2030. I have gone through his full report. To give the committee a little bit more background, commission is made up of 7 members, 5 of which are from the old congressional districts, 2 are at large, and I believe you are technically an at large. You're from the 5th or 3rd district.
Third
district.
Now,
Yes, sir. So there's 5 and 2, they're all appointed by the governor's office. Jack has an incredible background. I did not know all of his history prior to taking over this committee and looking at this nomination, but we've worked together on Veterans Affairs issues over in the past, and it's been very helpful, and I appreciate everything that you've done, sir, to help us. I've gone through the entire report. I'm going to ask that Mr. Winstead give us a little bit of additional information and background to the entire committee, and then I'll have some questions after that. So at this point in time, I'd like to ask Mr. Winstead to turn on his microphone and give us a little bit of background of your history with DEQ and your history with the Department of Ag, and just a little biography about yourself.
Okay. I'm originally from over in Neshoba County, and I worked with Soil Conservation Service for 35 years. At the end of my career, I was working statewide for a number of years, so I have visited in all the counties and have a good familiarity with the state of Mississippi. After I retired from Soil Conservation Service, I had always had a few cattle. I enjoyed cattle farming. I bought a farm over in Newton County, moved over there, and they kidded me about that. I got over there and found out all those things I've been telling farmers to do wouldn't work, and I didn't stay in it very long. So, but I've enjoyed conservation, working with farmers. I now live out here near the reservoir, but when I was asked to serve on this committee 20 years ago, it's been a while, the governor himself called me, Governor Barber, and I didn't even know he had my cell number, but he called and says, we've got to have a vacancy for this district. And it was, like say, Newton County then, but I'm in Rankin now, but it's still in the same still a current congressional district. So anyway, we had a nice chat, and the thing he told me is I've always remembered, we need to, I want to make sure we take care of the environment, but I want to do it in a way that it does not bankrupt farmers and business people. And I've always taken that approach on environmental issues. Yes, we want to do what we need to do for the environment, but we want to be very careful that we don't create hardships for people when we're doing it. And like I say, I guess I may be doing all right. This is the 3rd governor that has asked me to serve on this board, and I'm honored to do it. I'd be glad to attempt to answer any questions.
All right, well, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the members of the committee?
20 years, that's a long time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to, on behalf of the Senate, thank you for the service that you've given to your willingness to serve on the board the past 20 years and willingness to continue to do that. Just a couple of questions, I guess. If by serving on that board, is there anything that you've kind of learned over the last 20 years that maybe you could bestow upon us that would help us do a better job?
Well, it's environmental issues it's just giant in this state.
Yes, sir.
And it varies so much from one end of the state to the other. I was very knowledgeable of the agriculture aspect of it and the water issues in the Mississippi Delta. That's been because in soil conservation, I attended a lot of meetings. The thing I had to learn was environmental issues on the Gulf Coast and Tishomingo County. They're very important, but they're totally different. And the thing that really was an eye-opener to me was, and almost frightening to be on this board, was after Katrina and the BP spill. We were down there. We had to make some exceptions to some rules in order to do some cleanup. And we met with local people, the staff at DEQ. They have a super staff, but they involve the board members. They don't take action without involving the board. And we went down and visited, actually flew out and looked over the fire at the BP oil spill. And it was just, it's just a totally different thing. So we've tried, we have a board that tries to take that approach. I'll touch briefly on the water issues in the Mississippi Delta. The farmers are so dependent on water for irrigation, but yet our water table is dropping up there. And we realized years ago that we had to do something to, where the farmers had the water they needed, but not to waste it. So that's been one of the most difficult issues we've had. But we have got that where it's pretty well working on a volunteer meter basis. We rather do that than put requirements on them. And we've had real good success on turning the water issue around in the Mississippi Delta. But so it's such a broad thing to see the environmental issues from one end all throughout the county.
Thank you, Mr. Winstead, and I assume Mrs. Winstead for being here today. Mr. Chairman.
That's what.
What, did I mess
Oh,
up?
this
Is that
is
your
my
daughter?
This is
Senator
my friend
Williams.
Alice
That's
Perry.
Miss Alice Perry.
My wife apologized.
I'm sorry.
She has never.
Let me
missed one of
remove my
these.
foot and turn this microphone off.
Alice,
Hey, it was close.
my wife
Didn't want to leave a guest out.
normally attends, but she had something. But Alice, I'm going to take just a minute. Years ago in my work with soil conservation, I believed in doing civic things also. And my office was in the downtown federal building at that time. And Keep Jackson Beautiful, there was a group of businessmen here in Jackson that was concerned about the beautification of Jackson. And they asked, and had been asked to serve of the Keep Jackson Beautiful. And a couple of banker people in Jackson asked me to meet with them. They said, why aren't y'all doing this and doing that? I said, we're strictly a volunteer. We don't have any, we have one lady that works part-time for us. If y'all will fund this project, you know, money's what it takes on everything. If you will fund this project, we can begin to turn it around. And they agreed to do it. And Alice Perry was the first employee of the Keep Jackson Beautiful. And she says I'm her first boss, but she's been my friend and we are together, and she's very much involved with environmental office. And the other day I received a little recognition over on the other end, and I asked Alice to stand with my family in that activity. So she's a dear friend, and my wife would not have her feelings hurt. They didn't refer to her as my wife.
Feelings not hurt at all.
But anyway, thank you for
Thank you very much.
questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your comments.
Any other questions?
Speak on it.
Uh-oh.
I'd like to
I just
recognize
failed the
the
test.
junior gentleman. I'm sorry. My finance chairman. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. I believe Miss Alice has probably corrected Mr. Jack as many times as his wife has too. So, I've known Mr. Winstead for a long time. He's been very active, is still active in the community, serving on the PRV board. And, I'm glad he's been reappointed to this position, and I support it. And, I'm thankful that he's willing to serve again.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Senator Pro Tem?
I may,
Absolutely.
Jack's been a friend of mine for a long time as well. He not only has helped in Franklin County, done a great job, he's also helped him. He's not, thank you. He's also been very active with the military and done some wonderful things for the state. So he has my highest recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. As we've talked it before, I've asked you several questions. One thing that I want to ask for the board is, have you done anything that would be derogatory towards the governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, or the Senate delegation?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm very high on all of them. And we've had great leadership in this state, and I've had the opportunity to work with many of them. And Josh is my senator, and I couldn't have a better one.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. He's a great guy. Don't forget my project, sir. But anyway,
Motion at the proper time.
all right. Any other questions? I'd like to go ahead and
Motion to
recognize
advise
the
and
motion.
consent on the nomination of Mr. Jack Winstead.
All right, it's advised and consent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you very much. Rise and report.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Thank you for doing it.
Oh, man. Huh?
Just don't forget to leave all your paperwork, push it into the center of the table.
Yeah, I know you are. Hey, we'll talk a little bit.
Yes, sir.
MC Sparkle, one of my dearest friends.
We love, that was.
Thanks for-